114-88, your final. And we are now joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez and former NBA player and coach Avery Johnson. As guys, no rest, no problem for the Thunder. I mean, at least in the second half, as they go on to take game one of the series against Minnesota. Coach, I'm just going to open this up to you. What impressed you most in OKC's win?
Well, OKC won this game by not dominating the three-point line. I was really impressed with their defense, especially in the second half. I like the adjustments that the Oklahoma City Thunder coaching staff made in terms of Chet Holmgren. You know, maybe subbing him out a little bit early there in the first half. I don't believe that he's going to be able to play the 4 position in this series. I think they got to play either or in terms of the bigs. Sometimes they went really small with 5 smaller guys on their team. So I like the adjustments. I love that they were able to contain, you know, the perimeter guys from Minnesota. Anthony Edwards didn't do much of anything in the fourth quarter. You know, Shea struggled. He didn't make a 3 in the first half. But overall, I like the adjustments. I love their defense, and we'll see if they can continue to build on it.
Yeah, I'm with Avery on that one. The adjustments in the third quarter where they really got going and they almost doubled up the Wolves in the third quarter. They went small in that third quarter, and that really got that offense going because SGA in the first half, he couldn't get a shot to fall. He only had 2 field goals in the first half. Jalen Williams got off to a really slow start, and in that third quarter, all of a sudden, boom, they found their shot. And then the defense that Avery mentioned, absolutely right about that. They're so good, Oklahoma City is, at turning over their opposition. They forced 19 turnovers tonight, and then what happens after they force turnovers? They turn that into points. They generated 31 points off of turnovers, and that was basically all she wrote for Oklahoma City. And Minnesota just could not generate any offense outside of Julius Randle, who's been excellent in this postseason, was good again tonight, hit 5 of his 6 3-pointers. But after Ant rolled his ankle, he just didn't look the same. I'm with Avery. They're going to need more from him. I wonder if that ankle was bothering him a little bit. The fourth quarter, he completely disappeared, didn't even have a field goal in the fourth quarter. So Oklahoma City, for me, the thing that I was most impressed with was just resilience, because tough turnaround from Game 7 right into Game 1, but they didn't panic after the first half and then really got rolling in that second half.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys mentioned Anthony Edwards briefly leaving that game, and at least for Julius Randle, it seemed like there was no drop-off because he did have a big half, but John, you talked about it. Their turnovers, 19 on the game, giving up 31 points. What just happened for Minnesota, especially there in the second half, because they did go into halftime with that lead?
Oklahoma City's just awesome at turning over the opposition. They have so many different guys that they can throw at you, and they're just ferocious. They're ferocious on the perimeter. They're ferocious on the interior. When Ant went out, they lost one of their primary ball handlers. Julius Randle was actually asked about it during the in-game interview, and he said, look, that's not really us. We generally aren't as sloppy with the ball. Well, it's not just that the Wolves aren't sloppy with the ball and they had a bad night. It's that Oklahoma City, this is their bread and butter. They were #1 in the NBA this season at creating turnovers and #1 in the NBA at generating points off of turnovers. Same thing is applied during this postseason. Same thing applied during Game 1. Wolves are going to have to figure out a way to tighten that up, because if not, they're going to be dead in the water.
Yeah, and again, you can't allow a team to have 12 steals. That's easy buckets. That's when you don't even have a shot on goal. So Oklahoma City playing the passing lanes, the on-ball turnovers that Minnesota, the malfunctions there, the deflections that Oklahoma City had that created easy points. Jalen Williams running out with easy dunks. There's no defense for that. I used to tell my teams, look, I can help you score, but there's really no solution if you're going to have live ball turnovers that's going to turn into pick sixes, in which we saw tonight. Those pick sixes really cost the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Absolutely. And Coach, now just knowing what we know about this Minnesota team, but also all of the valid points that you guys mentioned about how good this OKC team is, do you think Minnesota has enough to even challenge OKC and maybe sneak one on the road in Game 2?
I don't believe so, because at the end of the day, OKC was down, 4 points in the first half? Mm-hmm. They struggled to, knock down wide open shots. They're going to play a much better game. Sure, Anthony Edwards is going to be, play at a different level, but I just think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the way he leads this team, they better try to get the ball out of his hands like they did in that 3 overtime game in that last game in Oklahoma when Minnesota won, despite the ineffectiveness of Anthony Edwards. But I see OKC really dominating again, protecting their home court. And this is why I got OKC winning in 6.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with my guy Avery here. First time that we've disagreed tonight. I also have Oklahoma City winning this series, but I don't think that the Minnesota Timberwolves are out of this for 2 different reasons. One, they didn't get anything really from Ant tonight. 18 points, sure, but it took him 13 shots, and he didn't look like himself after the ankle injury. We'll see whether or not the ankle feels better in game 2. The big thing for me was they shot 29% from 3. They put up 51 threes. Normally, Oklahoma City, we talked about that defense. We talked about live ball turnovers and generating points off of that. Generally, that perimeter defense is a little bit stingier on limiting three-pointers. That the Wolves even got up 51, I think is like, if you're trying to look at it and squint and like glass half full for the Wolves, okay, you got up a ton of threes. You need to knock more down than just 15 out of 51. Dante DiVincenzo has been super streaky all season long. They're going to need more from him. Mike Conley needs to start making more. Julius Randle was their one consistent three-point shooter tonight. The rest of that team, Nickeil Alexander-Walker had some open looks that he missed. Jaden McDaniels was in foul trouble earlier. All of these guys in the supporting cast have to knock down their threes, and then I think they have a shot.
Yeah.
See, but I think the problem, John, and I'm going to disagree with you, I don't think this is a series for Rudy Gobert. This is not a series for him. I think, you know, those 21 minutes, he's always going to be a -5 or a -2. There's too many different mismatches. I've coached in the Western Conference Finals before and in the finals, and I'm telling you, it comes down to matchups. We can talk about team. There's no I in team, but there's an I in win. You got to find the right matchups. You know, there's been series, you know, that I've coached in when I've second-guessed myself on certain lineups that I had on the floor, and if I had to do it all over again. So, again, this is not a series for Rudy Gobert.
There's no I in team, but there is a U in matchups, and clearly Rudy Gobert maybe being on the not so great side of some of those. But fellas, I want to go back to SGA just really briefly, because you guys talked about his shots not falling early in this one, but ended the game with a game high of 31 points. And then also you think about some of the Wolves' struggles, especially when it came to fouls. Was it them being undisciplined, or is it just SGA being able just to take advantage of those opportunities? John, help me out.
Yeah, I think SGA, first time in the Western Conference, you know, he's in the Western Conference Finals. So, you know, he's one step away from going to the finals, all of the MVP talk. And John, I don't know where you are here. I thought he was a little bit nervous and a little bit, you know, maybe anxious to start the game, but I think he'll settle it.
All right.
Yeah, I thought SGA first half looked like he was a little, you know, coming off of the Game 7 hangover a little bit. But also, Jaden McDaniels did a really good job on him early and got into foul trouble as a result of it. I thought Nickeil Alexander-Walker, his cousin, did a good job on him defensively to start. And then Ant, before the ankle injury, they were throwing everything they could at him. But the guy's an MVP candidate and the presumptive MVP for a reason. You can only hold him down for so long, and eventually he got untracked, and Oklahoma City took off. That third quarter especially, keep coming back to that. He was excellent in the second half, as was Jalen Williams, and that was it for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, you can only hold him down so long. So how will they figure out a way, Minnesota, to hold him down in game 2? Yet to be seen. But as always, Avery, John, fellas, I appreciate that insight. Thank you so much. And if you want more, make sure you check out the Beyond the Arc podcast. John Gonzalez is joined by Bill Ryder as they dive deep into all of the storylines and analysis from the postseason, before and beyond. Make sure you download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.